Did you know that walking isn't just something you do automatically every day, but one of the most powerful and underestimated systems your body has for staying healthy, mobile, and resilient? Most people treat walking as background noise in their lives, something so basic that it barely deserves attention. But the way you walk is quietly shaping your posture, your joint health, your energy levels, and even how well your body holds up as you age. What seems like a simple habit is actually a complex movement pattern that can either protect your body or slowly break it down over time. The truth is that not all walking is the same. Two people can walk the same distance every day and experience completely different outcomes. One may feel loose, balanced, and energized, while the other develops knee pain, back stiffness, or chronic fatigue. The difference isn't genetics or luck, it's how they walk. Modern life has changed the way humans move. Long hours of sitting, looking down at screens, and wearing restrictive footwear have subtly altered natural walking patterns. Over years, these changes compound, leading to poor posture, inefficient movement, and unnecessary strain on the body. If walking is done without awareness, it doesn't just fail to help you, it can quietly contribute to problems like tight hips, compressed spines, weakened glutes, and unstable joints. These issues don't appear overnight. They build slowly, often dismissed as normal aging. But researchers, physical therapists, movement scientists, and longevity experts have spent decades studying human gait and biomechanics. And their findings reveal something important. When walking is done with proper alignment, rhythm, and awareness, it becomes one of the safest and most effective forms of daily movement for preserving mobility, reducing pain, and maintaining physical independence well into old age. This is why walking deserves more respect than it gets. It isn't just exercise, and it isn't just transportation. It's a skill that exists on a spectrum. There are levels to walking, just like there are levels to strength, endurance, or coordination. Most people never move beyond the lowest levels because no one ever teaches them that there's anything more to learn. But once you understand these levels, you can clearly see where you are, what's holding you back, and how small changes can produce meaningful improvements. The first level is where almost everyone starts, and unfortunately, where many people stay for life. This is automatic walking. At this level, walking happens on autopilot. The body moves without conscious input, guided by habit rather than intention. People walk because they have to, not because they're paying attention to how they move. The head often drifts forward, pulled down by screens and desks. The shoulders round slightly, the upper back stiffens, and the hips lose their natural range of motion. Steps become shorter, and the feet may slap the ground rather than roll smoothly. In automatic walking, the arms barely swing, or they swing unevenly, reducing the body's ability to counterbalance itself. The spine absorbs more impact than it should be because the rest of the body isn't sharing the load efficiently. None of this feels dramatic in the moment. Walking still feels normal. But over time, this pattern places extra stress on the knees, hips, lower back, and neck. It also reduces circulation and limits how effectively the body transfers energy from step to step. Automatic walking isn't immediately harmful, which is why it's easy to ignore. But over years and decades, it contributes to stiffness, poor posture, and gradual loss of mobility. The danger of this level isn't that it causes sudden injury. It's that it quietly erodes the body's natural movement quality. This level forms the foundation for everything that follows. Because the moment you recognize that you're walking unconsciously, you create the opportunity to change. The second level begins with awareness. This is intentional walking. At this stage, walking stops being something that just happens and becomes something you actively notice. You start paying attention to how your body feels while moving. You become aware of your posture, your breathing, and the rhythm of your steps. This shift may seem small, but it's powerful. Awareness alone often leads to immediate improvements. In intentional walking, the head lifts and aligns more naturally over the spine. The shoulders relax instead of hunching forward. The arms begin to swing freely at the sides, helping the body stay balanced. Steps become smoother and more controlled. Breathing settles into a calmer rhythm, which reduces unnecessary tension. Walking starts to feel lighter, even though nothing dramatic has changed. At this level, people often notice that walking feels more comfortable and less draining. Joint discomfort may lessen, and balance improves. Intentional walking doesn't require special training or athletic ability. It simply requires paying attention. This level is crucial because it creates feedback. Once you're aware of how you move, inefficient patterns become obvious. You can feel when something is off, and that awareness naturally encourages correction. Intentional walking also begins to reconnect the mind and body. Instead of rushing from one place to another, lost in thought, walking becomes a present activity This alone can reduce stress and mental fatigue. But while awareness improves things, it doesn't fully address the structural issues created by years of poor posture and movement habits. That's where the next level comes in. Third level is posture-aligned walking. This is where walking starts to actively support the body's structure instead of slowly undermining it. At this level, alignment becomes the focus. The goal is to stack the body in a way that allows bones, joints, and muscles to work together efficiently. Walking begins with an upright posture, where the head is balanced over the spine rather than pushed forward. The chest opens slightly, allowing the shoulders to settle back and down. The pelvis stays neutral, avoiding excessive arching or flattening of the lower back. With posture alignment, each step rolls smoothly from heel to toe. Impact is distributed more evenly through the foot instead of being absorbed by a single joint. The spine moves naturally, acting as a shock absorber rather than a rigid column. This reduces compression and strain throughout the body. When posture is aligned, walking requires less effort. The body stops fighting itself. Many people notice significant changes at this level. Knee pain may decrease because the joints are no longer misaligned. Lower back tension often eases as the pelvis and spine move more naturally. Walking feels more stable, and balance improves. These changes don't come from walking harder or faster, but from walking smarter. Walking represents a turning point. Walking is no longer just a habit or a form of light exercise. It becomes a form of daily maintenance. Each step reinforces healthier movement patterns instead of reinforcing dysfunction. Over time, this level helps preserve joint health, maintain spinal integrity, and prevent the gradual decline in mobility that many people accept as inevitable. What makes this level especially important is that it sets the stage for everything that follows. Without proper alignment, trying to walk longer, faster, or more intensely only amplifies poor mechanics. With alignment in place, the body is prepared to handle greater demands safely. Walking transitions from something that merely fills time into something that actively contributes to long-term health. Up to this point, the changes are subtle but profound. The body begins to feel more coordinated, less tense, and more capable. Walking no longer drains energy, it conserves it. And while many people stop here and experience real benefits, this is only the midpoint of what walking can become when treated as a skill rather than an afterthought. As posture and alignment become second nature, walking naturally evolves into something smoother and more efficient. This is where the fourth level begins. At this stage, walking is no longer just about standing tall or being aware of movement. It becomes about how efficiently the body moves through space. Every step starts to flow into the next, reducing wasted effort and unnecessary tension. Walking begins to feel quieter, lighter, and more controlled, even over longer distances. At this level, stride length adjusts naturally. Instead of overreaching with the foot and landing heavily in front of the body, the foot lands closer beneath the center of mass. This subtle change dramatically reduces braking forces that slow the body down and stress the joints. The feet roll smoothly across the ground, and the legs work like pendulums rather than stiff levers. Movement becomes rhythmic rather than forced. Arm swing now plays a meaningful role. The arms move in coordination with the opposite leg, helping counterbalance the torso and stabilize the spine. This reduces rotational stress in the lower back and allows the upper and lower body to work as one integrated system. The hips begin to rotate gently with each step, allowing momentum to transfer naturally through the body instead of being blocked by stiffness or over-control. Efficient gait walking changes how the body uses energy. Muscles fire in sequence rather than all at once, which prevents early fatigue. Circulation improves as blood flows more freely through relaxed, coordinated movement. Many people notice that they can walk farther and faster without feeling drained. Walking becomes something the body can sustain comfortably rather than tolerate. This level is often where people realize that walking is not just movement, but a learned skill. Just as poor technique limits performance in sports, inefficient gait limits how much benefit walking can provide. With improved mechanics, the body protects itself. Joints experience less impact, connective tissues endure less strain, and the nervous system remains calmer. Walking stops feeling like work and starts feeling natural again. As efficiency improves, the body becomes capable of handling longer durations of walking without breaking down. This marks the transition into the fifth level. Endurance-based walking is where walking begins to challenge the body in a meaningful, adaptive way. It is no longer just about how well you walk for a few minutes, but how well you maintain quality movement over time. At this level, walking sessions become longer and more intentional. The body learns to sustain proper posture, alignment, and gait even as fatigue sets in. Breathing becomes deeper and more rhythmic, supporting oxygen delivery and energy production. Heart rate resaws modestly. strengthening the cardiovascular system without the impact stress associated with running or high-intensity exercise. Endurance-based walking trains the muscles of the legs, hips, and core to work together for extended periods. This builds resilience rather than bulk. The body becomes better at using fat as a fuel source, supporting metabolic health and energy balance. Over time, this type of walking improves stamina, circulation, and recovery. What makes this level especially valuable is its sustainability. Unlike intense workouts that require long recovery times, endurance walking can be practiced daily. Many cultures known for exceptional longevity rely heavily on this type of movement. Walking is not something they fit in a few times a week. It is woven into daily life as a primary form of activity. At this level, walking also begins to shape the mind. Sustaining movement for longer periods requires focus and consistency. The repetitive rhythm of walking creates a calming effect on the nervous system. Thoughts settle, stress decreases, and mental clarity improves. Walking becomes a form of moving meditation, supporting emotional balance as much as physical health. There is also a psychological shift that happens here. Walking is no longer viewed as a low-effort activity or a fallback option. It becomes a deliberate practice. People at this level often plan their walks, choose routes intentionally, and pay attention to pace and breathing. Walking gains structure without becoming rigid. As endurance develops, the body becomes more adaptable. Hills, uneven terrain, and longer distances feel manageable rather than intimidating. Recovery improves, and soreness becomes less common. Walking begins to reinforce confidence in the body's ability to move well, which is critical for maintaining mobility as the years pass. While endurance-based walking provides tremendous benefits, it still operates within a comfortable range. The sixth level pushes walking into a more demanding and refined territory. Performance walking is where walking becomes athletic without becoming destructive. Speed increases, but form remains intact. Power is generated efficiently rather than through brute force. At this level, cadence increases while stride remains controlled. The core engages more actively to stabilize the spine and transfer force between the upper and lower body. Foot placement becomes precise, and balance is maintained even under changing conditions. Walking uphill, carrying light loads, or moving at a brisk pace becomes part of the practice. Performance walking challenges the cardiovascular system. More aggressively while remaining limb-packed, it builds strong legs, resilient joints, and a stable core. This is why it is often used by athletes during recovery phases, by military personnel during long marches, and by individuals who want high conditioning without the injury risk associated with running. Mentally, performance walking requires discipline. Maintaining form under increasing demand forces attention back into the body. Distractions fade as movement quality becomes the priority. Walking becomes purposeful and focused. Each step has intent, and inefficiencies are quickly felt and corrected. At this level, walking trains the body to handle stress efficiently. Rather than collapsing under fatigue, the body adapts. Muscles coordinate, breathing stays controlled, and posture holds. This creates a strong foundation not just for walking, but for all movement. Daily activities feel easier because the body has learned how to generate and manage force efficiently. Performance walking also reveals how much potential most people leave untapped. Walking is often dismissed as too easy to matter, yet when practiced at this level, it becomes a powerful conditioning tool. The body responds by becoming stronger, more coordinated, and more resilient. As these levels build on one another, a pattern becomes clear. Walking is not a fixed ability. It is a skill that improves with awareness, alignment, efficiency, and conditioning. Each level removes limitations created by the one before it. What starts as unconscious movement gradually transforms into a refined practice that supports both health and performance. By the time someone reaches this stage, walking no longer feels ordinary. It feels intentional, capable, and reliable. The body moves with confidence, and movement becomes something to trust rather than fear. This sets the stage for the final level, where walking is no longer something that needs to be managed or trained, but something that flows effortlessly as part of who you are. At the highest level, walking becomes something very different from what most people imagine. This final stage is not about pushing harder, going faster, or covering more distance. It is about mastery. Elite walking is the point where movement, awareness, and efficiency merge so completely that walking feels effortless, stable, and deeply natural. The body no longer needs constant correction because the fundamentals are fully integrated. At this level, posture is no longer something you think about. The head naturally balances over the spine, the shoulders rest where they should, and the pelvis moves freely without excess tension. Each step flows seamlessly into the next. There is no heavy impact, No abrupt stopping and starting. No wasted motion. The body absorbs force quietly and distributes it smoothly through the joints and connective tissues. Breathing at this level is deep, calm, and synchronized with movement. The nervous system remains relaxed, even during long walks or challenging terrain. This allows the body to conserve energy and recover quickly. Walking feels sustainable, even over hours, because nothing is being forced. Muscles engage only as much as necessary, then release. This efficiency is what allows elite walkers to remain mobile and capable far longer than average. Elite walking is often observed in lifelong movers. Experienced athletes, movement specialists, and elders from cultures where walking is a daily necessity rather than a scheduled activity. These individuals may not appear fast or flashy, but their movement is confident and controlled. They rarely stumble, rarely suffer chronic joint pain, and rarely lose balance. Their walking reflects decades of accumulated movement intelligence. What separates elite walking from lower levels is not intensity, but refinement. Every small adjustment has already been made. Gait is efficient, posture is aligned, endurance is established, and performance capacity is available when needed. Walking becomes adaptable. Whether moving slowly through a crowded space or briskly across uneven ground, the body responds smoothly. But at this level, walking becomes a form of daily insurance for the body. It preserves joint health, maintains balance, supports circulation, and protects against the gradual decline in mobility that so many people experience with age. Elite walking does not prevent aging, but it dramatically slows the loss of physical capability that often comes with it. There is also a psychological quality to elite walking. Movement feels grounded and confident. The body trusts itself. This confidence spills over into daily life. People who walk well tend to move well in general. They rise from chairs more easily, carry loads with less strain, and navigate their environment without hesitation. Walking becomes a foundation for independence. Importantly, elite walking is not reserved for a select few. It is not dependent on genetics or extraordinary athleticism. It is the result of consistent attention to movement over time. Each of the previous levels contributes something essential. Awareness leads to alignment. Alignment leads to efficiency. Efficiency supports endurance. Endurance enables performance. In performance, practiced patiently, it devolves into mastery. One of the most overlooked aspects of elite walking is how little effort it appears to take. To an observer, it may look ordinary, but beneath the surface, the body is operating with remarkable coordination. Muscles fire in precise sequences. Joints move through optimal ranges. The nervous system remains calm and responsive. This is the opposite of tension-driven movement. Elite walking also supports longevity in a way that high-impact activities often cannot, because it places minimal stress on the joints while still challenging the cardiovascular and muscular systems. It can be practiced consistently for decades. This consistency is what compounds into long-term health benefits. Small daily actions, repeated over years, shape outcomes far more than occasional intense efforts. At this level, walking becomes more than physical activity. It becomes a daily ritual. It provides time for mental clarity, reflection, and stress regulation. The rhythmic nature of walking supports emotional balance and cognitive function. Many people find that their best thinking happens while walking at this stage, when the body is engaged but the mind is free. What makes elite walking truly powerful is that it integrates seamlessly into life. It does not require special equipment, memberships, or schedules. It adapts to different environments and life stages. Whether walking through a city, along nature paths, or simply moving through daily routines, the quality of movement remains high. Looking back across all levels, a clear progression emerges. Walking begins as something unconscious and inefficient. With awareness, it becomes intentional. With alignment, it becomes supportive. With efficiency, it becomes smooth. With endurance, it becomes sustaining. With performance, it becomes capable. And with mastery, it becomes effortless. This progression mirrors how the human body is designed to learn. It responds best to gradual refinement rather than drastic change. Small improvements in how you walk accumulate over time. What starts as a simple adjustment in posture or awareness can years later mean the difference between mobility and limitation. Walking is often underestimated because it is so familiar, yet familiarity hides complexity. When treated as a skill rather than a default action, walking reveals itself as one of the most powerful tools available for maintaining health, resilience, and independence. It supports the body quietly, without demanding attention or recovery. No matter where you are now, there is always a next level. You do not need to master everything at once. The simple act of paying attention to how you move begins the process. From there, each step becomes an opportunity to reinforce better patterns rather than repeat old ones. Walking is not just movement. It is a reflection of how the body organizes itself. When walking improves, everything built on top of it improves as well. Strength, balance, endurance, and confidence all grow from this foundation. In the end, walking well is not about adding something new to your life. It is about reclaiming something fundamental. The human body was designed to walk efficiently, comfortably, and often. When you align with that design, movement becomes less of a struggle and more of a support. Walking, when practiced with intention and refinement, is one of the simplest forms of daily care you can give your body. Over time, it quietly shapes how you age, how you feel, and how capable you remain. What begins as a basic action ultimately becomes a lifelong ally.